Hi there, Ryan Perry here, and welcome back. We're going to be talking more AI for small business owners. As usual, I have Logan Monday with Logan Monday AI. Welcome back, Logan. Always love to see your smiling face here.
Thanks, Ryan. Great to be here. I look forward to these talks so much during the week.
Yeah, definitely. And we've been, we're still kind of filling out the show, what exactly it is we're going to talk about. We want to make sure that we're offering value and something tangible for the viewers around AI, because it's beyond broad as far as the subject base. But today we're going to talk about really small business, the smaller business owner, maybe under 10 employees. How can they, starting out, really be effective with all the AI tools out there? So you're going to hit on 3 points today, correct?
That's right. I got 3 points for you. And those 3 points are going to be pretty simple. First and foremost, for those of you in the small business community that have 10 employees or less, really the first thing is figure out the one thing that you want to improve and focus on that. I can't really stress enough that there's so much AI out there that it can be overwhelming and to feel as if you don't even know where to start. We'll start with the thing that you care about the most, and maintaining that connection with your customer is the thing that all small businesses care about the most. And that's my recommendation for them to start with first.
Yeah. And I think that one's really important because, like you said, there's just so much information that's out there. It's easy to get overwhelmed. And just being able to identify what is one simple way that I can be productive. I know for a lot of people, coming from a marketing background, at least for me, I see a lot of people looking at the writing aspect and going, okay, and we talked about this, right? How can you create better emails? How can you create better social media posts? How can you use Chat GTP or the other tools that are out there in order to create, take a look at your website. That's kind of an easy place, especially if you haven't done anything with your website, is just copy the text in and, tell Chat GTP or whoever it might be, hey, this is what my company is. This is the content on my homepage. Do you have any feedback?
Yeah, and that's great. And I think that it's important for people to remember that, small businesses are really focused on the bottom line and making sure that they get the best value for their customers, and that there are so many AI applications out there that they're almost gated in a way because of cost. And so they'll get you a 14-day free trial, a 10-day free trial to try to hook you in, and then get you in that subscription model where you're getting charged every month, and you might not be able to do that. Right. So it's important to know, I think for each small business owner, their own limitations of what they can do within a certain time frame or a certain budget, and then find the right AI solution for them out of that. And of course, the easiest one to do that's free is ChatGPT to help with that. But if you're looking to if you have the budget and you're looking to expand a little more, and especially in copywriting, like Jasper is a great option. AI is a great option. And so again, it comes back to like knowing how you want to connect with your customer, what you want to
Right.
focus on, and then knowing your own boundaries and limitations.
Yeah. And I think the other thing when we talk about that, because knowing your audience, I think it can be, and we talked about this briefly last week, is that, oh, this AI thing, it's magical. All I have to do is say abracadabra, and all of a sudden I get this beautiful copy. And that's just not the case. So
Yeah.
I think the other thing, as far as knowing your audience, and we're going to dig deeper into this in a future episode, is how do you stay on brand?
Mm.
And I think that's really important. We're not going to go on the details now, but that's really about prompting. Would you
Mhm.
agree or disagree?
Yeah, and it's about the this. My background's in hit is my undergrad was in history, and so
Hmm.
I loved reading about Abraham Lincoln, and he had a
Hmm.
famous quote where he said, "If I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend seven sharpening the axe." In today's world, maybe that doesn't resonate as much. Maybe the quote should be changed to be, if I
All
had
right.
4 hours to go grocery shopping, I'd spend two doing the list and then one driving, right?
Right.
So like maybe it's something like that. I need to think of a better one, but that's just what popped
Yeah.
in my head. And when
Yeah.
it comes to ChatGPT, I have found my success is not in having extensive experience with artificial intelligence. My
Hmm.
success comes from knowing what I want to get out of the AI program to begin with.
Right.
So like ChatGPT, for example, you know, I'm not a pure based coder, so I'm not going to ask it to do a lot of stuff in coding that I don't can't give the context yet to have an
Right.
advanced prompt for. So like with content writing, I'll give it my website and like give it
Hmm.
my article that I wrote and say, all right, ChatGPT, I want you to scan this. I want you to remember this tone, the verbiage, the
Right.
structure of this blog, and what I like about it. And then I want you to replicate that for these topic ideas that I have.
All right.
And
And
then,
just for clarity, you're not talking about the content on the website. You don't want that replicated. It's replicating the tone and the
mhm,
writing
mhm,
style. So we're giving Chat GTP, this is what I want you to use as a reference tool, something you've already written, and
yep,
then use that style to then replicate other content so that you're staying on point, on brand, and kind of like we said, if you know your audience and they already like you,
mhm.
make sure your tone doesn't change.
Exactly. And I really appreciate you stopping to take the time to emphasize that.
Hmm.
That's why artificial intelligence to me is about being personal and about
Yeah.
using it to find ways that you are personal with your customer. And if you know your tone and your voice with your customer, you don't want to lose that. And it can get lost if
Yeah.
you don't instruct the AI to keep it.
Right. Yeah. And I think one of the interesting things, I was just working on this today for a client who has an international client base. And so we're trying to target some specific words in other countries. And one of the
Mm.
things that I use as a reference would be, I want you to write like this magazine. So, if
Oh,
I want
okay.
it to be like, in the writing style of GQ, as an example, if it's going to be
Okay.
more fashion, or I might say write in the style of Car and Driver, if I want something that's more engineering or, mechanical, if you will.
Yeah.
That way I'm giving the AI some contextual advice on what I want that tone to be. So what I did was like, okay, I understand who the client's base is. And I went to, in this case, it was GQ. I went and made sure they had an Australian version of GQ. Sure enough, they did. So
Hmm.
I asked it to go ahead and reference GQ Australia in part of their tone so that, because I mean, I understand Australian, but I don't speak Australian. As far as the nuances, all of the we just there's words we know that aren't necessarily in the English vocabulary, but it's like I know what you
Yeah. Yeah.
mean. Type of.
Yeah.
They've got that in other countries also, so I want it to be relevant for that audience when they read it. I don't. Oh, some guy from America wrote this.
Hmm.
He's trying to get us to buy. No, I want it to sound like them because people like
Yeah.
what they're used to.
Yeah, I was told by an Australian friend that it's not shrimp on the Barbie, it's prawns on the Barbie.
Huh? See, and that would be a dead giveaway, right? If you said shrimp on the
Yeah,
Barbie,
I
and
had no idea. I was,
you'd
you know,
ruin
I
it. Yeah.
always, I always thought that was
So anyhow, so these are some different ways that you can use AI while maintaining the tone and voice of your
yeah,
business so that you just don't want to alienate people. Or if
yeah,
you're struggling with the tone and voice, go to the chat GTP and ask it, go, look, this is kind of what I've been doing. Do you have any suggestions? And
yeah. And the thing that I recommend is when your people are looking through this, is that um, ChatGPT is designed for you to keep it editing it and improving it,
mhm,
but not to like narrow it so much it can't do anything else. And some
right.
other programs are like that, where they're really narrow in what they do,
Hmm.
and ChatGPT isn't like that. So you can tell it like, it copied the text that you put in for it to keep your tone and your copywriting, and then it gives you something, and you can read it and say, this is awful, this is not me, this is not what I
Right.
like, and
Right.
you tell it that.
Yeah. And I was reading or listening to a video today, and the gentleman said, when you run into that, think about feeling. So put
Mm,
feeling words in there,
hmm.
right? So instead of
Yeah.
sound smarter, what is a feeling word? I want to be empathetic. I want to, I don't know, intelligence, not a, I'm trying to think about that now that I say that. It's like smarter. What's a feeling word for smarter? I don't
Well,
know.
it would be along the lines of like, this writing is my audience. All right, let's do it for myself in a
Hmm.
personal thing. So my audience would be small business owners, solo entrepreneurs, and educators. I'm very passionate about the way AI is developed and taught in a curriculum with educators. So
Right.
if I could make an article or whatnot, and it hits on small business owners, solopreneurs, and then educators, it doesn't need anything to do with, enterprise level big business stuff. It doesn't
Right.
need global, and it doesn't need um, a lot of business processes and jargon. So the words that I would use to encapsulate that feeling that you're talking about would be, make this a friendly business one-on-one type of
Okay.
tone.
Right.
Where I would give it an example of
Like
like,
business casual versus business professional, maybe, or
right.
something
And
like that.
like business casual between two partners who know each other,
Right.
or business casual between two partners who just finished a successful project, or
Right.
business casual between two potential partners who know each other but haven't worked together. And
Right.
like the
Right.
more, I know it sounds strange, but that type of example
Hmm.
gives it more direction so it can get that feeling and tone that is
Right.
aligned with like what you want for yourself.
Right. All right. Perfect. Number two, we're going to talk about kind of areas for improvement, right? So,
Mm,
as a small business owner, we tend to wear a lot of hats. I know I do. I assume you do.
yeah.
And so, with all of these kind of tools available, we're going to get into overwhelm here. I know that's actually the third one. I'm going to leap into that. But really, I love this idea that you talked about before we got on the show, which is like, okay, let's just pick one area where you're like, I wish I had an assistant who could do this,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
how can AI assist you in that area?
Yeah, like for myself, I'll share that I actually enjoy reading stuff, writing notes on it, turning it into something, and then distilling the info so that people can learn it for
Hmm.
themselves. Like it's part of teaching. It's also part of like improvement. It's just part of the way I'm wired. What I don't like, what I don't like, are reaching out for sales outreach.
Yeah.
Like it's just pin like needles. I'm sitting on them. I can't
Yeah.
stand it.
Yeah.
So I have to look for ways to think. Okay, I actually went to ChatGPT and was like, "Look,
Hmm.
I don't like this. Like, this is not fun for me. How do I make it fun to be able to connect with people so that they can know who I am and what I'm doing, the way I'm doing it, that it benefits them, so that I'm able to enjoy presenting myself to them in this one email.
Right.
And like, how can I hit that benefit with them? And so that's the way I approached it. And it took like 20 or 30 minutes to like for me to
Mm-hmm.
get comfortable with an email outreach. But
Right.
sometimes you got to work backwards to get in front. And that's what I did. And it worked great.
Nice.
And now when I
Nice.
reach out to someone like in education, I present it with some good feedback from ChatGPT, which was, you know, act like a guest lecturer, like show them a benefit that'll help their class or their course.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to a small business owner, I'll go and say, research them a little bit. And then instead of saying, are you wanting to improve and get better, blah, blah, blah. It's more like, are your customers not having fun coming to your store? Like, what is it that you're
Right.
selling, in that's having trouble, like trying to find that thing that
Yep.
matters to them
Yeah.
instead of what matters to me to connect with them.
Yep.
And it took a while for me to get there because it was backwards. But now I actually
Yep.
am like, oh, maybe I'll connect with them. This is fun. And it changed my outlook on it. It's a long-winded answer, but it's very
Right.
personal because I
Yeah.
don't enjoy
Yeah.
cold stuff.
Yeah. And I think that's important because, and I love the aspect that it's not just how do I do this, but how can I do it in a way that's fun, and kind of taking your Abraham Lincoln, which by the way, I was born on his birthday. So I have a,
Really?
yeah, I've at a very young age, somebody told me that. I was like, oh my gosh. So I feel
Cool.
connected in some way, but that's going back to that sharpening the axe, right? So don't expect that 30 seconds you're going to get the most fabulous answer.
Right.
Spend the 20 minutes because, my goodness, this is something that you're going to replicate, which is ultimately where AI is so successful, is that once you
Mm-hmm.
figure out that prompt, even if it takes like 3 steps, even if it's not just a 1-step prompt where you got to go, hey, do this first, and then I got to copy and paste, second step in, it gives me an answer, and I got to copy and paste is easy, folks. So spend that time up front and get the results that you want so that you can replicate this over and over again. I was listening to a guy and I thought this was brilliant when he's trying to reach out to larger organizations. Is he goes to LinkedIn and he'll grab their LinkedIn profile, because oftentimes he goes on the website. If you go to the about page for the business, it's too much information and it's not relevant. LinkedIn descriptions of a business tend to be much more compact,
Mm-hmm.
and AI can deal with that. AI doesn't. If you can minimize your prompts to the least amount of words it needs to understand it, the better off you're going to be. And so he goes, I put that in there because now I can talk directly to their core attributes, as an example, because
Yeah.
it's already there. It's in LinkedIn. I didn't have to think about it.
Can
Done.
I give your audience a how-to on that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Is that all right if we add that in?
No,
Um,
we got to charge them first, right? We'll start at
the
$5 a month, and we'll go up from there.
Yeah, okay. Um, but in all seriousness, yeah, in order, so many people in small businesses are trying to find ways to connect with one another, but to show value as quickly as possible. Um, and it depends on the person and maybe the business you're going to. Maybe you want to go more transactional in that intro, or maybe you want to
Hmm.
do relationship more. It depends on you and what you're looking for and what you
Right.
want out of it. To do that, you go to that LinkedIn profile, you go on theirs, you scroll down and skip the about me and all that stuff. You
Hmm.
skip the posting and you go to their resume, and you go in their resume, you copy paste 3 jobs that they've been the last 3 that they've had.
Hmm.
You go to ChatGPT and you say, I'm creating an email to connect with this person. Their job
Hmm.
title is this, their business is this. I want you to scan this LinkedIn text for their job history and
All right.
find 2 points of interest I can share with them.
Okay.
And like, you see what it says.
Yep.
And for those of you who do that, use that to say, to make it personal with them.
Hmm.
To say, I noticed that you worked at such and such, and I too worked in something like that. It caught my eye. I'd love to talk
Right.
to you more about that. Also, by the way, I see that you're doing this and this, and I can be of value to that, right?
Right.
So it's about that personal connection and using AI to speed it up
Yep.
instead of you like sitting down and scrolling, because it speeds it up, and not that it does the research for you, but that it condenses the info so that you can make something else from it, and you can
Right.
focus on connecting with them instead of just writing and looking the whole time.
Correct. Yeah. That's huge. I love that one.
Yeah, I hope your
I'm
audience
going to
uses it.
write
I
that one
really do.
down.
I hope we get some feedback on that and tell us in the comments.
Yeah, for sure. So, anything else you want to say as far as just kind of, focus on that one area as
Hmm.
far as being able to improve your business?
Yeah, stay with it.
Yeah.
Stay with it. Like I have to do that to myself with scheduling,
Hmm.
but stay with it. And it takes a couple of months just because we're people, and it takes a couple of months. But the cool thing is that if you stay with it and it keeps that connection with your customer, fortunately, the AI is going to keep getting better. So
Right.
the longer you stay with it and keep working and improve it, the AI you use, like ChatGPT, is going to amplify it and make it better and better and better and better.
Hmm.
And that's only going to be a benefit to you.
Right. Right. All right. Perfect. And then the third thing that you wanted to talk about is going to be don't get overwhelmed, which we've kind of hit on a few times because there's just so much information out there. It's almost impossible if you're truly human to not get overwhelmed. So I think
Yeah, yeah.
setting some boundaries or even just getting back to number two, what's the area of
Hmm.
improvement, and maybe just stick with one AI. If you're already
Hmm.
comfortable in Bard versus Chat GTP, but you hear all these exciting things going on over here, but you're having success where you're at, maybe you just need to stay where you're at. And if you're not
Yeah,
having success, then
yeah.
feel free to try something else out.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll only add one last point to that is, kind of a little nugget about like into the crystal ball of what's coming for
Hmm.
AI is that the things that we're talking about are called generative AI, like
Hmm.
Bard and ChatGPT and whatnot. And ChatGPT is the newest one. Bard's going to be big, but everyone's going to have an AI. Like
Right.
LinkedIn has it now, where they're testing it out, where you write it out and then it'll say use Magic AI to help
Mm-hmm.
generate a better post.
Yep.
So like
So that
it's just a normal thing now. Like everyone's going to have
correct.
it. Don't it goes back to not feeling overwhelmed. Don't feel like you have to use every single AI for it.
Correct.
Um, and I'll give you a good example is that Adobe is going to have a generative AI, and it's going to be remarkable, like
Yeah.
remarkable. But it's going to have no connection to anything outside of, as far as I know, outside of Adobe into like ChatGPT, right? They're not
Right.
going to talk to each other, and that's
Correct.
going to be
Well,
normal.
and it's interesting because I got a background in video, and so I have Photoshop and talk about monthly subscriptions that I don't like paying for. Adobe,
Hey,
um,
Canva.
don't like it, don't like it. Understand it again from a business model, totally understand it, appreciate it. From a consumer, nope. But they have some fabulous stuff, and I got to figure out how to do it. I just haven't had the time to play with it. You can actually take a plate, which would be a snapshot. So if I just took a picture of myself with the background, you can create that plate. Go into Photoshop right now because now we're dealing with an image and not a video. I can put that in Photoshop, and then I can just wiggle my mouse over here and say, and in this is in Adobe Photoshop. I could go into the
Mhm.
bar and go put a window in with sunset or sunrise or with
Yeah,
a tree.
yeah.
And the place where I wiggled to put the thing in, it'll go ahead and do that. There are people that are doing videos from way back, so they're more full body, and they're
Hmm.
actually putting themselves in a room that they have just simply gone ahead and created. We're talking couch, we're talking plants, windows, bookshelves, the whole nine yards. It's pretty crazy. And back in the day, you'd have to be a Photoshop genius to be able to put all this stuff in, make it look nice. Now it's just AI, just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Okay, put a window there, and boom, you don't like it? No problem. I'll give you five more options. Feel free. It's pretty cool. So one of
Yeah.
these days, I might have to throw that in my background, so I don't just have the tired drape in the back.
I know we can have some fun with it. My Zoom
Yeah.
background is I have to switch rooms for the situation here with my toddler, and like all my books and my AI stuff and pictures and everything
Hmm.
is looks great, and then
Right.
I kind of move around for him so
Yeah.
he can do his thing.
Priorities. It's called
I think
priorities.
yeah, it's parent stuff. It's not bad. Um, this is just me personally in my background, and I find that when I'm watching videos that, on YouTube or with creators or whatnot,
Hmm.
I'm more hooked in with people who kind of take their time showing what they're doing to like show you how it went out, how it went about, instead of doing stuff quick and snazzy and
Right.
and sexy kind of. So if
Hmm.
someone was in like a fake room and they did that, great, as long as they took enough time for me to kind of enjoy the content and follow it and feel like I really got a benefit out of it. And I
Right.
think that ties back into what small business owners do, which is personal. As long as it's personal and like
Hmm.
it's relevant to what I really want, and the small business owners are making it personal for them with their customers.
Right.
The customer is going to go along for the ride if they're like, hey, this week we're on Bali and we're just messing around and having fun, and
Right.
we got
Yeah.
mai tais and whatnot.
Yeah.
Next week we're going to be in I don't know, Nebraska in the cornfields. I don't know. We'll have
Sure.
fun with it.
I
But like,
like that.
if the content's personal, like, and
Sure.
it's
Right. Because the
relevant,
people are
then
still people, right? The
yeah,
people are still the people, but you can have fun with what you're doing. I love
yeah,
that idea.
yeah. Well,
Hmm.
you want to try that?
I think we should. I think maybe we should go land on the moon and, see what happens.
We could save that and like get a helmet and then.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
but I love that, and that's what I want to tie in is like just don't get overwhelmed. Focus on
Yeah.
what you care about, connecting with the customer. Find the AI that really you enjoy working in and that works for
Hmm.
your business and provides value for your business, not just because you hear
Right.
about it. And stick with it. Give yourself time to stick with it because it's going to
Right.
get better, and the
Yep.
better it gets, is it'll get better with you. The better you get working with it, and then it just amplifies your work and your connection to your customers.
Right. Yeah, that is so true. Um, and getting better to me means it's going to get easier because as the AI gets smarter, I mean, it's like all the tools that we have available to us are so much better than they were a year ago.
Yeah,
Not
that's crazy.
exclusive AI, just across the board. It's
Yeah,
amazing what people can do in Photoshop now because it's gotten easier. It's amazing what people can do with editing now because it's gotten easier.
yeah.
So yeah, across the board. So I love that. Let's do real quick recap. Make sure you know your audience, people. Don't let AI just randomly spit out garbage for you because you haven't taken the time to sharpen your axe and really kind of give AI its understanding of who you are. And again, it's really simple. You can just copy and paste data about you that you've already written. It could be a bio, it could be something from a homepage, could be something from LinkedIn, but give it some structure to work with so it can represent you. Because when you figure that out, it's a replicating machine. You're going to save yourself so many hours by putting that 20 minutes in up front.
Yeah.
Number two, you talked about areas of improvement.
That's right. Find the area of improvement you want to focus on in your business that helps you connect with your customer, and um, don't get overwhelmed by all the different options that are there.
Yeah.
Just because you hear an AI name that pops up that people are talking about doesn't mean it's the right fit for you. Find
Hmm.
that right fit, stick with it.
Yep. Yep. And I think part of that is with that overwhelm is that you're probably going to get overwhelmed at some point,
Yeah,
but just have an awareness of it and just kind of
yeah,
check in with yourself. Go back to step one, and that is this helping me connect with my audience? Yes or no?
yeah,
If it's not, maybe I don't need to worry about this now. And maybe whatever it is that I'm curious about or would like to do, that might be phase two. Let me get comfortable with this, and then I can go ahead and add in phase two later. So,
yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Awesome, sir. Hey, as always, Logan, I appreciate you spending your time with us today and sharing your vast knowledge about AI because it's only going to get better.
Thanks so much, Ryan. I really enjoy it. Can't wait for next week and looking forward to seeing you again.
All right, everybody, that is it for another week talking about AI with Logan Monday. If you are curious to learn more about Logan, you can check him out at loganmondayai.com. And of course, you can find him on LinkedIn under Logan Monday. Until next week, hope you all have a great day. Take care.